So I will do another kind of introduction to circular economy. The content of my presentation is this one, whereas the agenda is looking like this. So practically I will start by a short introduction, and then I will get to the part with strategies and paradigms. What is circular economy? It's about shifting the philosophy from the linear perspective to the circular perspective. You heard about this from my colleague Andrei. The main idea is that in this linear approach, we finally have the disposal and the pollution stage. We want to eliminate that by introducing closed loops, so that to revalorize our materials which enter the products and even the services. Circular economy is about eliminating waste, having a sort of resilience by design, and also it is about mimicking natural ecosystems. Also, it's about closing the loops and retaining the value as much as possible. Finally, I will highlight that it's also about minimizing the planetary impact while having highest level of economic and societal value. Okay, maybe you will see that there are many challenges and we are talking about complex things, but of course we have our own means already since decades to have things done in a circular way. Circular economy is an umbrella concept. You can see here many of them, many ideas. For example, we can speak about servitization, which is not offering products, but offering services, or offering some kind of product service systems. You can see here the remanufacturing, reconditioning, also emotional durability in order our products to last and to be longer used. Recycling, downcycling, composting, industrial symbiosis, and so on. There are many aspects behind these concepts, but we will get into details during next slides and possibly during next webinars. You can see here that there are many different frameworks to address waste management and resource efficiency. The thing is that all of them should be circular to the highest extent possible. And now, even if it is a little bit premature, I will address you this question in order to have a snapshot of what you think. So, which of the following concepts would be useful for your activity? I will launch this question for you now, and please respond within next 30 seconds at the most.
And how many answers can we answer on with?
As far as I know, the question is set for 3 answers.
3 answers. Okay, thanks.
Yes, thank you very much. Of course, the project will use all these answers to draw conclusions and improve our next webinars. Thank you very much. I will end the polling now, even if I see that the answers are still coming. Maybe
wait a bit more. I think
I will wait a little bit more because it's a complex question, and also I didn't explain all the features behind. Okay, they are still coming, which is good. Milan, you are the moderator. Please tell me when to close the polling.
I think that the rate of answers is slowly declining, so I think it's okay to close it now. Yeah.
It's okay. It is
We have the big
closed.
picture.
Okay. I can tell you without sharing the results that most of the participants are focused on the eco design. So practically Andrei did a good job by highlighting the importance of this eco design phase, which of course it's critical for everything that we do. Okay, I move forward. Why is circular economy needed? Hopefully that you all have seen this Earth Overshoot Day. It is about, it represents the moment in time within a year when the resources of our Earth are exhausted, so they cannot be further regenerated by our planet. You can see here that unfortunately the resources exhausted sooner and sooner within a year, but because of COVID, we had an improvement of the situation. Here you can see the same index by countries. For example, in Romania, we exhaust all of our resources on July the 11th. Okay, I will not insist too much on this. I will only highlight the idea that we have really to decouple our economic growth from the resource consumption and generation of emissions. You could say, okay, it's not possible, but you will see that we have already the tools and concepts to do that. At the moment, our global economy is only 9% circular, so only 9% are fed back into the macro economy, unfortunately. But this could represent also an opportunity for the businesses that innovate. Circular economy is also needed because we need to apply paradigms like cradle to cradle. It means that the resources, the natural resources that we use in our manufacturing processes or servicing sector need to be considered as nutrients which go into closed loops and finally they get back into the nature. So we have to have this balance between the two artificial and natural ecosystems. Of course, for that, in order to do that, energy, the energy that we use should be renewable, water should be clean, we should have a strong social responsibility and so on. You will see within next slides that there are a lot of benefits for our businesses. So I will highlight them further on. And now we will dive more into the strategies used to capture and use the value. Everything in our world is about value. The money are only a representation of the value. This is very important to understand. If we discuss about the perspectives regarding circular economy, you will see here that there are more. So we should deal with processes, products, business models. We should collaborate a lot. And also, of course, in order to shift the paradigms, we have to apply the tactics of the change management discipline. Maybe you saw this value hill tool. It is only one tool, but I think it is very useful. Practically, it shows that in order to have a product to be used by us, it has to go through different phases of manufacturing, from raw materials to parts and the product itself. Here you have the consumption phase. This is the timeline. Usually, if we think in terms of circular economy, this time for usage is short, really short. For example, or used inefficiently. For example, in the EU, the cars are used only 2% of their entire lifetime. And after they are used for a short period, their value drops drastically. The idea with our strategies is to make this drop gradually, so to have a slope, not to have an abrupt slope. We have to appeal to different strategies like long life loop strategies, meaning, for example, to have a better durability of the products, to recondition, refurbish, remanufacture our products. Then we could have intensifying loop strategies, meaning to better use the potential of the products with strategies like sharing, co-using, and so on. Then we refer to the closing loop strategies. Here we aim at the recycling, composting, and everything which feeds our materials back into the nature or into our artificial systems. We have the extending loop strategies. Here we could talk about substances, for example, the so-called cascading, meaning, for example, an industrial water which still has very useful components inside could be used for other purposes in other industries. And then finally, we should have preventative strategies, meaning to refuse the usage of toxic elements, or to have a better usage, a more efficient usage of the materials. So value hill is one of the tools that we should use. Here you can see another tool, which is practically the main actor of a training of Climate Kick, who sponsors also this Circular Economy Beacons project. You can see here all the 5 strategies I was mentioning you about within previous slides. The idea is to have green raw materials fed into this manufacturing system. Of course, we could talk likewise for servicing sector. The idea is that primarily you have here the vertical stage, then you have the part stage and the product stage. So during the manufacturing processes, you have different phases for this scale here. Then you have the transport and distribution, then the usage phase, then you have to collect back all the products that were used, and then to apply some kind of treatment also aligned with this scale. The idea is to have as much closed loops as possible, but unfortunately, currently you saw that above 90% of the materials are lost in different phases. So then we have to apply different strategies like reconstitution, repairing, reinventing, and so on. You can see here an example for the video gaming sector. It is from Wiki Commons. You can find it. The idea is that you have, of course, to begin with this eco design, for example, for product durability, and to use only green materials. Reconsider the distribution of the games, for example, by using the downloading tactics. Then, of course, during the consumption phase, we should be green by powering down our devices when we not use them. Then, with some kind of incentives and buyback programs, we should collect all these electronic waste and recycle them and feed them back into the artificial systems or even natural systems. Same, I want still to highlight here that at industry level, all the participants should think about this closed loop. For example, the producers, transporters, consumers, and so on. Same principles apply to the packaging sector. You have here the indication that in all phases of this life cycle, you have different usage of the packages. But we should aim at renewing, reusing, and recycling all these packages because they produce a lot of waste, and for example, they go into the oceans, unfortunately. Why circular economy is attractive to businesses? As I told you, we should avoid the value loss. Then there are a lot of recirculation opportunities which bring different businesses in place. We could make our resource consumption more efficient. Also, we have better profits, stronger green partnerships, and this is because usually when you feel the same, when you have the same approaches in your businesses, you get closer to the partners that do the same. You will see here a clear, within next slides, a clear new business opportunities. Then another very important aspect is that we should reduce as much as possible the externalities, the dependencies of the external resources. Because this is an image very relevant, because within this period from 2000 on, prices of commodities have fluctuated a lot, and the average went up very abruptly. So it makes sense to have less dependence on the external factors. I can tell you, for example, that Renault has 70%, at least 30% independence. Of course, more attractive brands we could have by adopting such green approaches. The relations with our customers could strongly improve. Of course, we will have a satisfaction that we protect our environment, and I would say that it's a good benefit to be ahead of times, ahead of regulation, because you probably know that there are a lot of new regulation at international level in the sense of applying, implementing the circular economy. And finally, of course, we are speaking about general competitiveness, wealth, sustainability, and resilience. Now we get to the examples. I think this will be very useful and inspirational to you. For the sourcing part, we offer you a highlight of these two giants, Ford and Heinz. Practically, Ford uses ketchup byproducts in order to create plastics, and this is useful for both. Even in terms of money. Then we have for this stage the Abbey Steel example. Abbey Steel is a very smart company that buys offcuts from different manufacturers. It recycles them without remelting, and then it solds the regular shapes to different other companies. And this is a very profitable business, which has, of course, a growth potential. Another example is that Renault, in the past, owned its own cutting machines. It had to pay attention to the servicing aspects, but finally he redesigned the system by transferring the responsibility for the cutting machines and fluids, related fluids, to a supplier. And both of them had a lot of benefits, because even the supplier was forced to innovate, and the margins, the profits increased for both companies. Here you can see different other examples from different angles. The remanufacturing of Renault, this is a well-known example. We have already predictive maintenance in the transportation sector. For Tesla, we have an approach which is dedicated to upgrading the software, especially. And last, I will highlight this example where the waste coming from cartridges is used to create handles for different boxes by HP. Another relevant example, I would say, for this stage here at parts level is that the market potential for the power storages is very high at the moment, in the sense that we could use the electric car batteries for a second life. Maybe you do not know that these electric car batteries are used only up to 80%, and then they should be thrown away. But as you see here, there are good examples to use them with other purposes. And the last example is about this company, British Sugar, which initially only created sugar products. But after carefully analyzing all the wastes that it had, they, meaning the staff, acknowledged the potential to have new businesses, and they have created, by using, of course, the principles of circular economy, 11 other profitable businesses. You can see here the entire ecosystem of British Sugar. Now, we conclude this section by a new question. Please tell us which of the following benefits are most important to your activities. I will launch this poll. Please answer within 30 seconds.
Or maybe a minute.
I'm not so sure, because this should be easier. But you are the moderator. Maybe I extended too much my presentation, so
it's fine. I mean, for some, it is the first time that participants are seeing these strategies, so it might be a little bit more mind troubling to get around what is here.
You're right, especially that we need conclusions for the next webinars.
Yeah, and definitely what we will do is I will definitely share these results with you after the presentations. So we'll not keep you in blank, but I think that now we're good and we can close it slowly because the rate is dropping.
Okay,
so Marian, it's yours.
Yes, last slides from my part. This is a section regarding the paradigms. Okay, so practically I told you about our aim for decoupling the economic growth from the resource consumption and emissions generation by rethinking and reconfiguring the entire chain of value generation. Of course, we could approach different tactics like, for example, using alternate or green materials, applying the so-called lean manufacturing processes. Maybe a lot of you heard about them. We could talk in the usage phase about timeless aesthetics or emotional durability in order to keep the products in use. And I told you many things about recirculation of parts, products, and materials. Of course, behind this picture, there are a lot of concepts I will not insist on. Only I will highlight that in the logistics and energy sectors, we should also improve our recirculation. There are many shifts already which happen in our life and are relevant for circular economy. Maybe you cannot see very rapidly the potential of these shifts here. For example, fully digital documentation systems, teleworking, smartphones, but they are there. So they bring a lot of benefits for the businesses and planets. And I would say about to happen at large scale, because they already started, we have these ones, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, everything as a service, and so on. So we should be prepared because disruptive times are coming, and the only chance for us as humanity is, from my point of view, the circular economy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marian. Again, as last time, it was interesting to see a little bit more aspects of circular economy. Definitely, this is just a glimpse of what is behind circularity. One of the main points that here we have addressed more implicitly than explicitly was the life cycle thinking and the life cycle approach, where Marian have showed the tool that we are using in trainings and also in assessing in companies what kind of flows and what kind of options, opportunities, or benefits companies could address in this kind of a life cycle thinking. And what does that mean is that we are thinking about the whole system of interrelations or interconnectedness from the moment we start procuring the first material or the first resource to the moment where we are usually forgetting about the product or service, and this is the moment when the end consumer stops using it. For some other, it's even before. It's when the product leaves the shop. So and this is the usual linear economy mode of thinking, because as Andre has pointed out, we only have one thing is focus, and this is maximizing profits. And maximizing profits is basically when the old way of looking at the product, which is sell and forget. When the product leaves our shop, we forget about it. And the life cycle thinking is taking a bit broader boundaries of systems. This is something that Andrei had also noted. And it is thinking about from the very conception and design to the very end potential use of resources in this product or a service. So this is my kind of a small conclusion of how to connect life cycle thinking and circular economy with systems thinking. And I would like also to have, it will be great to have some of the questions from the audience. Until then, I do have one question, and that is to both Andrei and Marian. We have mentioned systems thinking, we have mentioned circular economy. You have discussed also about hierarchies, about the other characteristics such as resilience and self-organization of systems. But how do they explicitly intertwine like systems thinking and circular economy when it comes to business and business innovation? Or to make the question more concretely, what angles should companies think about when they're thinking about circular business?
Yes, thank you
Whoever
for
would
the
like.
question, Milan. I would answer like that. There cannot be any circular economy without applying the life cycle approaches in order to close the loops. Also, there cannot be any circular economy without having a system thinking which aims at seeing everything as a whole, looking to the interdependencies, patterns, and so on, in order to find out right solutions to apply in the benefit of the businesses, but also in the benefit of our planet, because you saw that resources are more and more scarce. I indicated the example to you from Renault. It is more than 30% independent from the external market, because it applies together with in co-working together with its partner different strategies during the life cycle and during the value hill slopes, by of course using a systemic thinking. For example, it remanufactures since 30 years ago the motors, and everything in its cars are designed for disassembly. The recipe for each component is known. The products are designed for disassembly, and they have their own buyback program to get together with the partners all their cars, and then revalorize the products, the materials, and so on. I think this is very useful because as we see now, we have disruptive times. Then, of course, I got the question from another colleague that we have many challenges to apply these new paradigms, but I honestly think that we can do it already by ourselves, even without limited incentives or regulations from the governments, because everything is about improving our businesses, our profit, and this should be, of course, in connected chains and closed loops. It's not so easy, but of course, some strategies in the value hill and some strategies in the life cycle with system thinking we could already apply with our suppliers and by ourselves in our businesses. We can do it, and then we will inspire others, and then we will demonstrate and also press our governments to give us more and more incentives.
Right. To summarize, the way that I see it is that we should take care of optimizing these loops in the whole supply chain and life cycle approach. We should take care of the new measurements of impact, like how does it impact our supply chain in economic terms, but also how does it impact our overall capability of procuring, and in that sense, how do we use resources, or if the resources are going to be locked in some way, in some position, or we're running out of them because of our basically because of our negligence. And the third one that you mentioned, that we need to take care of the policies enablers, but not to depend on them, right? And this is how
Exactly,
okay.
exactly. But of course, everything should be applied and is already applied to some points in the design phase.
Yeah.
By thinking in the life cycle, even at the usage phase. For example, products should be designed for being shared or co-used. And finally, collecting everything and feeding back into the manufacturing and servicing sector in order to have a better usage of our resources.
Great. I would like to conclude this discussion. We have two more questions that I would like to ask. One definitely, one is a little bit more trickier. We'll see. But currently, we do live in this disruptive times, and the way that I would always present circular, not always, but I do like to present it, is that taking the note from the work of just now I forgot who are the authors. Shame on me. But there is a paper that says that there are over 113 definitions of circular economy currently. Most probably there are even more at this point. But I've chosen one that explains systemic approach to circular economy, even though a little bit more technical one. And I'll share my screen just for the audience to get acquainted with it. When what it says is, circular economy is an economic system that replaces the end-of-life concept. So basically what Marian has told, there is no end of life of a product or service, with reducing, alternatively reusing, recycling, recovering materials in production and distribution and consumption processes. So even in procurement, in distribution of these products, it's a different business models that we are going to engage. And also the consumption process, basically the consumption pattern, is something that we need to take into account. And that comes from both Marian's and Andrei's presentation about the culture of how do we consume and how do we take the products as they are. It operates as a micro level, products, companies, and consumers, meso level, eco-industrial parks, and macro level, city, region, nation, and beyond. This is a bit more trickier part to explain, so I'll skip it, but basically this is the multi-level perspective that is brought into the definition of circular economy. So we need to take care of the design of the product, we need to take care of the industrial systems, and at some part, industrial industrial parks, as well as potentially industrial symbiosis. This is the level that of meso level, and macro level. We need to take care of the policies and how do we enable this kind of functioning. So it's a very intertwined, very complex topic we're embarking on, with the aim of accomplishing sustainable development, thus is simultaneously creating environmental equality, economic prosperity, and social equity on the benefit of the current and future generations. In essence, this is a translated sustainable development definition. So the purpose of circular economy is to create a durable, resilient, and sustainable society. It is enabled by novel business models and responsible consumers. And this is some of the novelties that we are taking into the business context in order to create benefits for business and in order for them to be differentiated in a new way. Okay, this is just shortly. I wanted to underline the systemic definition of a circular economy. We do have a question which is about jobs. And if we do have approximation how many jobs will disappear, how many persons will need digital skills education, from Dani, I would surely say that there are two sides of the coins. And many of the jobs that are going to be created, approximately 2 million by one first assessment, I think it was 800,000 by the second assessment, will be created. And as society gets more and more modern, the jobs are not to be seen as jobs, they are to be seen as professions. So professions are going to be changed, as well as today we don't have many professions that we have in 19th century, but we do have digitalization and digital, for instance, digital experts or programmers. So in that sense, there are net positive effects in regards to jobs. There are some, and the role of the beacons are actually to lessen the negative effect of this transition and to enable as much as possible the education of new needs for new jobs, so we can accommodate for this. So this is my short overview and just put into perspective beacons. Andre or Marianne, do you maybe have anything to add to this? The question is about jobs. Are they going to be less jobs or losing jobs or new jobs? Because we're not talking here about automatization and robotization at this point. There are many other aspects of circular economy that need to be taken care of.
I will start with a short remark. I will have a short comment, I would say. So there will be also new kind of jobs. For example, for remanufacturing of electronics.
Exactly.
This thing is already happening, and it creates new jobs. Also in the distribution or reverse logistics, because it will be a higher demand to do that. So we will have on one side the creative jobs that will be created, and also the new jobs which are needed in order to put in place the circular economy principles.
Thank you.
I totally agree. We don't close our economy by shifting to circular economy. We just change it. It can and the prospects there are that it will grow. So the economy should not suffer, but also the environment should not suffer. So we don't close it, we don't minimize it, we don't stop it. We just change it. So in this change, there is a lot of work. There are lots of things to do. There are a lot of things to learn. As Milan said, there are new professions that will appear, and jobs will not disappear because. But also, in my opinion, is that jobs will be better. So it's not just that it will disappear, but we will manage to move from mechanical work of humans in let's say not so good condition on factories, or on different kind of jobs in which we don't have to really interact with some environment which is not feasible for humans, but we can control this kind of environment from distance. Of course, in some areas there will be less human activities, but then in some other areas there will be more. So there is a balance on jobs creation and job losses, and every shift or every change implies more work, and that implies more jobs. This is how I see it. From what I saw in the field with companies, from what I managed to read and to find out until now.
I would just add to the and conclude with this to Andrei's part, is that currently we are missing the whole parts of industry which is based on reusing, remanufacturing, refurbishing, repairing. So some of the old jobs will return also. And if we're accenting repairs, there is an opportunity to extend the product's lifetimes through repairs and all the other topics. And in very connected to this is we don't need to be digitally equipped to do mechanical repairs. And every cycle of the circular economy that was explained by Marian is more labor intensive than just selling, servitizing, and recycling at the end of life. So it's more of a beneficial part of the story than and there are many assessments on this call. So with this, I would slowly, keeping mind of the time, I will slowly wrap up our today's story. Thank to both presenters, to both Marian and Andrei, for giving us thorough explanation of systems thinking. I would like to close this with one more poll, and which is, and this is very easy. For 30 seconds, we would like to know, would you be interested to find out more about the topic of systems and its application to transition to a circular economy? Great. We can stop it now because it's definitely 100% yes, almost. And while we have this poll running, let me see if we can do a couple of things in parallel, but we cannot because so 95% of you said that you would like to have it. And this is very important because we will strive to implement systemic circular economy through this circular economy beacons in our region. We would not like to emphasize only one part of life cycle or only one small improvement in product so it can be commercialized or marketed as circular, but we want to create enabling conditions for the whole systems to become circular. So that means that we will accent collaboration between companies, between supply chains, and we also want to enable cross-boundary collaboration between companies and between countries. So between companies, mainly related to the material flows and flows of resources and products, and between countries, mainly about recognizing barriers and attacking them pretty much simultaneously or in some organized way. I do have one more slide to conclude, and this is in regards to what happens next and what can we expect from from our next sessions. There are going to be more webinars. But first of all, okay, there are going to be more webinars in this year. We want to tackle 3 very important topics for circular economy, and this is energy, procurement, and water and materials. So basically, during September, we will explain more about the interplay between energy and circular economy, because it is more often than not forgotten topic about circular economy. It seems like a siloed topic, but it's very much connected to enabling true circular economy. In October, we are going to tackle alternative circular and green procurement systems, which is enabling market pull, from the main actors, be that from the governmental side or from the company supply chain side. And in November, we will tackle highly efficient and effective circular systems based on water and materials. Or in other words, we are going to delve deeper in how waters and materials are to be interchanged or interplayed in this circular economy system. We're going to discover more strategies. We're going to discover more, more forms of operation in regards to these 2 topics. We're not going to end there. We're going to continue during January, or actually February and March next year. And most probably one of the topics will be left open for the audience to see what is the primary interest from your side in order to implement it and inform you more about it. A little bit skipped topic, but which is very important for us, is that Other than implementation in companies, we want to tackle circular engineers in regards to architecture and building parts. So we are soon going to open a call for construction engineers, architects, and facility managers in Serbia in order to tackle circular innovation urban, not arena, but area actually. This is to be expected very soon. So if you have architects or colleagues that are construction engineers and that are very interested in green building, let them know about that, and you can post me a message on directly on my email account, which is bottom right, and we will be in touch on this. The third thing, very important, is the newsletter, which we are putting every month, a little bit more than every month, through which we are informing the whole audience about the regional effects, about the regional developments in circular economy. And the last but not the least information is, if you want to see the first webinar from our series, we will send you the information, we will send you the link, and it is already online. So it explained what is the state of play of circular economy in Balkans, talking about different initiatives, talking about the policies, levels of developments, and some similarities and differences between Romania, Serbia, Greek, and Bulgaria at this state. So this was the last slide. I would again like to thank you very much. If you have any further inquiries, please let us know through this email on the bottom right. And soon enough, Adriana from our lovely Chamber of Commerce of Timisoara will leave some feedback information, or actually we will ask for some feedback information. We would really like to know what are your needs, what would you like to know more about circular economy, because the whole circular economy beacons is directed towards you. We would like to start discussion, start collaboration, because there are, as said, many years to come of transformation, and there will be a lot of things to be done. So with that spirit, I thank you very much. And maybe with some music, we can end slowly this webinar. It was really nice interacting with you, speaking and discussing. Hopefully, we see you in approximately 1 month with a new topic. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye.